Welcome back to NintendoFuse Game Chat. Today we're going to be talking about Builder Simulator on Nintendo Switch. Well, Builder Simulator is a game for those who like to build, at least digitally. You're going to be able to start projects and dig holes in order to build foundation and build things, and that's pretty much the game. That's right there. However, there's a lot more to this game, but it's not quite sure how to get to it. There's a weird menu structure, and in fact, when you start the game, there's no real clear place to start. And while the tutorial is an option, it's not the first thing you go to. So eventually you get to some things and you start to build some things, and that's the game. So Barry, what'd you think?
So I went to the tutorial. I said, I figure this is going to be one of those games that I'm going to need to know what the hell I'm going to do. And the little robot talking to me, and he gives you a tutorial, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to build something, you know. I'm all excited. And now I have to lay foundation. And I'm like, okay, fine. And that's when I discovered the first problem with the game, the controls. So it's a first-person game, which I'm not a fan of. But the controls are very finicky, and it tells you push, I forget what button it was now, to lay the wire down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to lay the wire down. I'm like, why is it not working? And it's clicking it because you have this really narrow trench. And finally I did it. I'm like, oh, good. And then I realized I have to do this all along this damn pathway. So now I'm like looking downwards, pushing A as I'm like going through there, and now I'm getting sick because I'm like, oh my god. So I finally do that. I'm like, good. And like, now you have to pour the concrete. What the heck? Really? Okay. How do I do that? Oh, the same way. So I press it and it doesn't register. And I'm clicking it. I'm like, can't I just start pouring and it'll just fill up like a pool? No, click. Finally, I click whatever happened and I fill one square of concrete. Oh God.
Yeah.
I gotta trace this. Now I'm tracing the whole thing, and at that point I almost threw up, and I said, well, that was fun. I didn't get to build anything that I wanted to build. I got to lay foundation very poorly, and what I think would have made it worse is that it took me 10 minutes or so to even get that far.
Oh yeah.
It should have taken me, a minute. Like, intuitively, it would have taken me shorter amount of time to actually do the physical labor than it was to do the virtual labor.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been less sick. And that's the crazy thing. And I got frustrated before I got to actually build anything. And I'm like, if this is so finicky there, how is it going to build like a skyscraper or something? Like, no, God, that's kind of like torture.
Yeah.
I feel like I was tortured wanting to play. So, of course, I wanted to destroy now at this point. I can't. I'm like, let me dig other holes.
No.
Let me take this robot and throw him against the wall. No, I can't do anything.
No, don't. Just building. That's it.
Just
That's
building.
it from the ground up. Yeah. Yeah. And Builder, the robot, is kind of funny. But then eventually he gets annoying. But he is kind of funny and very punny as well. Which, yeah, he's definitely the best part of the game. In one of the modes, I don't know if you got to this one. Did you get a floor plan thing? That's the mode that I went to first. And,
no, I didn't.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like to start with, I played this game. I tried it on a handheld, and the type on the handheld screen is so tiny. I sent a picture to Barry and I was like, check this out. Like, it's so small. I can't even tell what's going on this screen. So you see this grid that's in front of you, and I thought, okay, how do I move around this menu option? And there's not a clear thing. To move from left to right column, you hit the R and L buttons. That's important to know. Not just right and left on the analog stick, moving, because that's how you normally do it. But no, R and L to move from those. That's important. But the handheld version does have touchscreen enabled. Fantastic. I choose the little tools that I want, and I go to draw on the screen, and nope, can't do that. You have to draw with the analog stick. You can't draw with the control pad, which would make a lot of sense for a grid that you're going to draw on. But no, you have to use the analog stick, which is not precise at all. And trying to get the little precise movements, it's so annoying. So I backed out of that, had no idea what I was doing. Go into the tutorial, do all the things that you were saying. However, it says at the very beginning, I don't know if this you found yourself to do this as well. Bill tells you to dig the hole. Great. I finally pull out my shovel, which is also confusing because in the very beginning, when you go into there, it tells you that the L button pulls up the tool wheel and nothing happened. Oh, you have to hold L down. Doesn't tell you that. You have to hold L down to get the tool wheel. Okay, great. But then I'm wondering, what do I do next? Finally, I look at the top left corner of the screen and it says that you have to pull the task list up with X. Builder didn't tell me that. He told me about the L button, but I have to look at the top left button to get X. Okay, cool. I did that and everything. Now, finally, digging the hole. I thought it meant the hole in the shape. And so I go to the middle of this shape and I'm trying to dig and nothing's happening. I'm like, I am going to throw this game. Like, I am going to have to go buy another Switch is what's going to happen because like I'm going to throw it. Finally, I figure out it's the perimeter. And then I go through the exact same thing you did as well. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Do you want to know something? My PTSD from this game was so bad I forgot that I did have to dig the hole to begin with. I'm at the memory of that the trench already exists. But digging that was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. So I get through the tutorial. Great. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back into whatever the campaign mode of this is called. And so yet again, gives you another foundation you got to build. So you go around and dig it and you go around and do those other things. Yet in the tutorial, you just have to pour the concrete, which is not very precise whatsoever, but you know, you have to do that. In the actual game, you have to mix the concrete, which means you have a pile of rock and you have a pile of gravel and sand and the concrete mix. And so you go with your shovel and you scoop it up and you put it in the concrete mixer and you're doing all these different things. And then you realize that you need water to make concrete. If you're not familiar with making concrete, you also need water. And water is on the screen. And I'm by a lake. And so I take my wheelbarrow and I'm going to go. I don't see any water hoses around. I must have to go down to the lake to get some water. And I'm going to scoop it in with my shovel and put it in my wheelbarrow. And that's what I'm going to do. And I get to the edge of the little path and it does not let me go any further. I cannot get down to the lake whatsoever. I am stuck in this little area, and so I have no idea what to do. Finally, I just go back, and I was like, well, I guess I'll put the rest of the sand I need in there. And I fill it all up, and then all of a sudden, the water thing just magically gets filled up automatically. And I figure out how to turn the mixer on, and it's mixing and mixing and mixing, and it finally gets to 100%, and I get my shovel ready, and oh, no, you got to dump it out. Okay, I walk over to the edge of the mixer. I dump it out, match to my wheelbarrow. I get it all perfect and everything. Dumps out into the wheelbarrow. I wheel my barrel over to the foundation. I'm going to pour it in, and it says, pouring the wrong concrete mix. And at this point, I've done exactly what it's told me to do. And I am about to throw up because of motion sickness. And so I quit the game. I wrote my notes, and I do not want to go back.
And the game won't even let you end your suffering by throwing yourself into the lake with the concrete. You could have made yourself a concrete boot and ended it all. Yeah. But no, you can't even do that.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
we should also know Greg is unfortunately not here, but he had problems with the controls, like the rest of us, and how terrible they are. So this wasn't just an us problem. This is, I don't want to say torture, but this is the kind of game that I would give somebody if I didn't like them. And force them to go through this. Especially if they get motion sickness, because boy, will you get sick.
The frame rate is rough on this one.
I was bad.
Yeah. It was funny because I had texted you and was like, hey, did you play Builder Simulator? You're like, yeah, but I had to quit because of vertigo. I was like, well, same here. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's bad.
Yeah. So It's $19.99 on the eShop right now. So yeah, it's $19.99. Yep, that's exactly how much this game could cost you if you were to get it. I think it's pretty safe to say that we recommend this with no, we do not. Yeah, I'm not recommending it. Barry, what do you think?
I can think of a lot of better things you could do with $19.99, like burn it, for example. So, no, I do not recommend this. If you get it for free, download at your own peril. But otherwise, yeah, stay away.
Yeah, yeah. We do want to thank the PR company from the publisher that gave us an opportunity to play the game. Glad we didn't have to spend $20 on it, and glad we could give you guys a review and hopefully potentially save you guys some money as well. There are other simulators that are out there that are better. We've had a couple simulators recently that we've played that we're not big fans of, but there are some that are better. Builder Simulator is not one of them. I think it's got a good idea, but it's just not executing it very well at all.
I think that's the best thing you could say is that the ideas are in place in this game and what they want to do is there, and it's for somebody looking for the more authentic experience, but the execution is terrible and the controls are terrible and the precision you need is terrible, and it could have been so much better, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they had a third person view that you can shift to first person view for specific tasks, fine. That would be better. And it's like, Sim City, for example, you didn't have to build this each city. You clicked and you said city, building, office building, boom, school, boom, and it was intuitive and it was fun. Here, like pouring the concrete, it should be like paint. When you would click fill, click done. If it was like that, the game would be fine. But to painstakingly travel around the perimeter to pour that, I mean, come on. I understand you want authentic. Give an option then. Do you want the autofill on or do you want to do it all painstakingly? There's nothing wrong with options. I don't know why some developers are scared of options. Give us that option. If that option is there and I missed it, I will totally backtrack on that. But without that, you're instantly gonna turn off potential people
Yeah.
who might enjoy that. I
Yeah.
think. I think. Now, if the precision was better too, if you can kind of like laserly do it or whatever, fine. But it had to be precise
Right.
in a specific spot, and it was so specific that it became frustrating when you're clicking all around it and nothing's happening.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other problem on top of that is it lends itself to be okay. It's a simulator, but it's not full simulator. Like pouring actual concrete is so much easier in real life. Like making concrete is so much easier in real life. Like digging a hole, it's tough work, but it's so much easier in real life. Like, so either make it super simple or make it very close as you can to an actual simulation of real life. Like where they have it somewhere in the middle, it just becomes annoying.
You know what? I dug through that trench and I did not get one splinter. 0 out of 10.
There you go. There you go. Well, that's Builder Simulator. If you want to check it out, it's on the Nintendo eShop for $20. Yeah, I definitely highly recommend to at least wait for a sale, and if you're willing to check it out, probably steer clear of this one. But thank you guys so much for being here for this game chat. If you like this, please be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and also check out NintendoFuse.com for more coverage, including all of our game chats, but also reviews and our podcast and so much more. And thanks, Barry, for playing this game with me and reviewing it today. And we'll catch you next time.